look now. As you can see over on the left side, still all donned in uniform and everything, is Team Liquid getting ready to jump into this map. And as you can see from Rapha's screen, they're already in the champion select there, so they are going to be jumping into the map in a moment as soon as everyone has solidified it. Meanwhile, over on the right side, we have our other squad with Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, and Stermy also getting ready to battle it. A bout between North America and Europe.
This is very interesting. I'm excited. You know, I'm very excited this match is happening right now. This is going to be top-notch Quake, like at the highest level in terms. I mean, all these. We've seen Team Liquid dominate, and we kind of commented on the devs game, especially about how they had this combat advantage. It was really putting pressure on the devs. They're not going to have that advantage in this game. It will come down to decision making, who's better organized. Just being able to out-aim their way out of that's not going to be possible in this game. They're really going to have to coordinate, and like I said, I know these guys that they're playing against. So,
and specifically for our new squadron here now, they're going to have a set of challenges to go up against, and no longer just doing it in the familiar arena that they're aware of, which is going to be over in the duel sector. Now they have to go into Sacrifice, and Team Liquid already has the advantage of being a pre-formed team, having that experience of already playing together. Granted, another game, but still having that synergy between the four of them. Whereas over here on the other side, they may not have that advantage. They may have not had that time to kind of get themselves together and work together as a full squad for a very long time.
Well, certainly Team Liquid, they've been together for a while. But these guys, Fazz, Noctis, and Toxic, and Stermy, they've actually been playing together, I think, pretty regularly during the beta. So I do think I expect to see some good synergy and communication from that team as well. And that's why I said pick them, because I said Liquid better be ready.
Well, here we go, folks. We're jumping into the map here now. So let's see who will reign true here. Is it going to be Team Liquid that comes out on top, or the new challengers that move in? Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, and Stermy, excuse me. Let's jump into it, and immediately we see the Scale Bearer moving in to try and take it. But as it seems true, it's looking like the European squad's going to be able to move in, and Stermy at the helm takes that soul and sends it over into the edge of the obelisk here, as they'll be able to get their choice and start off with a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, you can see right away how much more competitive the match is. Liquid's going to really have to organize an attack here. Some of these guys, I don't know if people aren't familiar with them, Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, especially Toxic. I mean, probably one of the best pure aim guys at Quake. I mean, he's just amazing.
Scale Bearer there is going to be able to move in, makes a decent attempt to try and get it off, but nicely shot from Rapha here. Gets himself the double kill, tries to go for a third one, but finally taken out by Stermy. And right after that one, they managed to lose Noctis too, so our new challenger squad is going to end up finding themselves dead. DaHanG, though, manages to finally get himself off. He throws it down, activates the charger. Not only does he carry the soul with him, but he also gets a kill in the process of that one. And while they get it onto their obelisk, it may be a short-lived thing, as we finally see them getting it onto the ground. Fazz makes an attempt to steal it immediately, but only gets pushed off of the obelisk itself and goes dead a few seconds later. Now the reinforcements are moving in. Stermy, along with his teammate there, have been able to steal the soul, and now they're running the soul back over to their side.
That was actually a great play, though, by DaHanG to get it over there with the charge. So it really put them back in the match, and we'll see what happens from here.
Rapha still trying to fight, but he doesn't have a whole lot of gunpowder to work with here. Currently, the nicely done on the spit, though, just destroy Stermy, playing on Nyx. There's no HP to work with, so just 2 or 3 of those poison balls is going to be enough to take out your opponent there. Well, let's do a little bit of a listen-in, however, and see how the European squad is doing with their communication.
It's okay, it's a quad.
Water scapping. Nail gun. Nail gun, second floor.
Shotgun. He's solo. Good job.
Heavy all 4.
Deep on rocket too.
This way you can rockets.
So much communication coming in, so many things trying to relay out to these teammates here as the European squad attempts to keep it together now and keep them in the lead here. As they're doing a good job of holding on to this point, and they have about a 60% lead now over Team Liquid from North America.
Yeah, they're really putting it on them right now. And as you can hear, the communication, right? They were really communicating each other, positions, and they really tracked down that quad carrier. If you notice, they were really calling where the quad carrier was. When he was alone, they made sure they finished him.
So Noctis just had a beautiful play himself there too, as they're still trying to fight for control of this soul. It's looking like it's going to go back over here inside of the current camp, so they'll be able to complete that. Actually, Rapha is going to make one more attempt to steal it away as he tries to get out of this hallway, but there's just no safe harbor for him to be found, and it just ends up getting tossed back into Toxic there. Who now tries to throw it onto the site, and I think they finally restored it over towards that B obelisk here. Nicely done from Fazz, getting back out into the open, hitting quite a few nice rails. He's got to continue that damage, but he's lost all of his teammates. And now those last two were able to just focus in on him, take him out, and now restoring control. But one more attempt is going to be made here by Rapha to sneak in with the Nyx and to attempt to steal the soul, but they haven't been able to get it off. Unfortunately, I think Rapha reset himself just a moment beforehand. He's got one more chance. It's up to 99%, and they finally managed to steal it successfully for yet another time. But now they need to get this soul the heck away from this point. And no, actually, it gets tossed on to Toxic, so he's going to try to run away with it here, but it gets tossed back in one of their teammates, who will finally restore control onto the obelisk itself. And just a moment later, they'll be able to sacrifice it, and it is looking like the squad from Europe will take control of round number 1.
Just solid play right there, and you know, I think Liquid needs to make a little bit of an adjustment, trying to keep them off that rail area. It seemed like you know, these guys from you know, Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, Stermy, they were hitting them with some major rail shots from over there, and I felt like they really controlled that area. It's an important gun on this map.
We saw some very impressive play too. I want to highlight one specific play. I believe it was Noctis that managed to pull it off there on the Ranger. There was actually a moment where a soul was getting tossed between Team Liquid's own teammates, but Noctis was actually able to use his Dire Orb and intercept the ball and then steal it away, and then toss it back over the steps a little bit closer to his own obelisk. That was some great stuff from him.
Speed chess. Speed chess. You know, he came up with that on the fly and improvised and made a great play.
Well, now we are going to see again, it does end up looking like that the players from Europe managed to get their choice of an obelisk, but they don't manage to keep control of the soul itself for very long here. Now Liquid has already stolen it away, and they're going to end up pushing over here towards the A obelisk, where they now get control, and there's that charge again from DaHanG. Just runs right through the Nyx.
You gotta love that. I'm sorry, it's just hilarious watching that happen. Those small classes they just get run over.
Absolutely. So a little bit of an at-range duel here now that Stermy and the rest of this new squad have been able to claim back control of the obelisk. It's not going to be very long lasting though, as ID has stolen it away. He's taken a bit of a risky path though, trying to go down those steps, but thankfully he was able to wait long enough to have a teammate waiting for him. Unfortunately, the first teammate that was designated to carry the soul goes down relatively quickly. They had an Anarchy ready who could move between these obelisks extremely quickly. Unfortunately, they lost that fast, and now the Europeans are going to get back, but it's a battle back and forth again here as they manage to use the Dire Orb to do damage, finishing off one player, and now Noctis finally gets it out of this hallway and starts throwing it back over towards his own obelisk.
Just look at the, you know, I like to point out the speed this game is being played at right now between these two teams. It's a frenzy. This pace is amazing.
Never a dull moment, it seems, here in Liquid. This is where this champion comes in beautifully, because of the fact that you can throw the spit down onto the obelisk itself, and any opponent that isn't the same exact champion who is actually immune to that damage pretty much has to stand off of it, because they're going to take so much damage from the sword-like spit.
Absolutely, and especially the lighter characters. Remember, they don't have a lot of health to give up and deal with that spit as much as maybe a heavier class does. It's really effective on these obelisk maps for sacrifice.
Well, 33% so far has been claimed on this obelisk. Our new challenging team, and they're doing great at being able to hold it off. They've already taken round number 1. They claim this one. The map is going to find itself ending relatively quickly. Liquid trying to get themselves back control of most of this map so they can try to push this European squad into a corner. But they've been unable to do that just yet. They're finding the opportunity to do it now, but he almost finding himself dead there. If he ran into that spit, it definitely would have ticked him down enough to just eliminate him outright from the remaining dot there. But now he's going to end up in an open fight here. Still managed to just barely take down Noctis, only 17 HP. And in the process, they stole the soul. Again, though, so short-lived. Look at all this damage that Fazz is able to do. Completely traps the Swordlag in this hall. Unfortunately, he has to eat all that damage, and it looks like they just barely managed to make it out. Unfortunately, another teammate from the European squad moves in, steals the orb back, and puts it right onto their obelisk.
That was a great play by Fazz to block him. Even though he ended up dying, he took off so much of Rapha's stack that Rapha had nowhere to go after that.
Rapha getting the nice double kill there to deny some of the rest of the pressure, moving in, and he gets a third kill as well. That's 3 players that he's knocked back out though, but some good spit from Fazz finally takes him out of the fight. However, AZK and some of the others moving back in as they attempt to steal that soul. It's gone back under the control of the opponent team now, but this rocket damage is massive. Nicely done from AZK. He gets it back onto Team Liquid Sorlag, and they're now well on their way over towards Obelisk A. However, a nice double rail shots moving back in from the European squad, and they once again deny the soul run.
Wow, just right when you think they're going to get it there, he comes just out of nowhere with those rail shots. But I would like to point out, before that even getting there, that's great rocket play by AZK. I always say good rocket launcher is the backbone of any solid Quake player's game.
Noctis is the double rail shot too with that metal there. Now trying to stay alive, but just can't do it. There's so many players over from the Team Liquid side trying to push back in, and they have the quad to play with too. So this new team has to be so careful with how they play this out currently. As one small mistake could find them in the open against the quad, and that is not what they want. Ultimately though, they're able to retrieve their soul yet again, and they'll sacrifice their obelisk, claiming them a second round and closing out on this map 2-0 against Team Liquid.
Back and then or toxic rail somebody, and it's just like they're on it, those guys. And so Liquid's gonna have to really protect their soul carrier a little better, and I don't know how they're gonna push these guys off some of these locations, but they need to work together better.
Yeah, we saw how good the Sorlag ended up being in that last match too. You can see the power of some of these champions as they kind of move up and down in the meta, or the somewhat meta that's starting to be established now. Keep in mind, only at the very beginning of the game, but we see a lot of Sorlag usage in this mode just because of how much control it can exercise over the point if you time the usage of the ability properly.
Yes, definitely. Sorlag is big. And also, there was another key play in there. I thought Rapha was going to get away. Remember when he was Sorlag and Fazz trapped him in that hallway there? It was, it looked like Rapha was stacked at that time because, he really did take a lot of damage before Fazz actually died. But Fazz did so much to him that literally probably stopped him from getting all the way to the other side of the map and maybe making it a little more interesting. It was a big play.
And it seems like the Sorlag and the Scale Bear are going to be the two consistent champions now, as we saw both teams using him in the last map, and it seems, based on the picks that we saw there just a moment ago, that those are also the champions that they're going to be utilizing in this map too. So it seems like they have the Sorlag, again, great utility, great defense, and when you need to pick up the kill, you can use that ability to do that too, but the Scale Bear, great for moving in and aggressively trying to take control of an opponent's obelisk and then steal that soul so you can hand it off to a faster champion and then have them make the actual run over to your obelisk.
Yeah, I think those two champions are really necessary for Sacrifice.
Well, we're going live into the match here now, so let's take a look and see if Team Liquid could strike back and make this 1-1 to start things off. But Soul coming out in just a moment here. Nicely done on the tribal so far from AZK. His opponent having to try and leap back over that. They'll get the kill though. That's Noctis going down. But as the Soul moves in, it is looking like Team Liquid's going to be able to steal it away, and they'll make their run back over here towards point A, where they'll be able to take control of their choice of obelisk.
We'll see what happens. This is a little interesting map because it's so open in the middle area. The rail there's just so many open areas to rail on this map. So I'm very curious to see what happens here because the Europeans were Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, Stermy, all those guys, they were hitting amazing rail shots last game.
Well, DaHanG moving in, he is able to take down one of these players, Noctis, however, trading that right back, but Rapha's in this fight. However, Fazz, who carried the soul, look at that run beautifully, so fast as well, using the rocket jump, just tossing the soul away. Nicely played, such a fast move, and he's already got that soul into the obelisk with about 7% stacking up for his team.
Yeah, that rocket jump was definitely slick.
So now Fazz is going to continue to try fighting here. So many opponents to fight against, but oh no! He fell off the map. So a little bit of a mistake there, but DaHanG still ends up with the soul, and he's going to try to make this run with it. He's in a bit of an awkward spot though, so he's got to be very, very careful. Tosses it away, goes for the rush, but denied with the tri-bolt shots to the face by Noctis.
A little desperation there, surrounded by enemies. He had no choice but to do that.
And now ID trying to fight back here as he attempts to support his teammates in their route to try and take the soul over to the other side. It's basically just stuck in these caves though, despite the nice rail shots coming out from both sides. Ultimately, it goes back into Team Liquid's obelisk and they'll resume holding control for the time being.
Looks like they might have woken up a little bit. We got a closer game here.
As ID manages to take the obelisk, or the soul, and now moves it back over to the other side. So there we go. Now Liquid has control of it as they finally were able to steal it away.
But again, a mistake there, even though they got it. Oh, he took out the quad carrier. That was a good change. That was a good exchange. Oh, they still didn't get it though.
Yeah, the problem was he went down in the process after getting hit by that rocket just a few moments later. And now, yeah, they're going to be in the open. This is where things get a little bit rougher here. And this should easily lead into a stolen soul, but it seems like they haven't been able to grab it just yet.
Your team has the quad.
Respawn there, Liquid.
Quad damage.
You're going to be able to pick that back up. Now, neither team really able to move in and get a great amount of control. Rapha coming back though, and there's again where the Sorelight comes in a big way. The Spit just completely blocked off one of the entrances. No one's really going to want to just walk through that and take the ticks unnecessarily when they can just wrap around the other side. So it denied that, bought them a few more seconds before this soul got stolen. And now ID lines up the shot, but leaves himself in the open for too long. And Toxic is actually able to take him out before he can continue to chase down the Soul Runner.
That was actually a great shot when he rocket jumped with the soul. He was able to hit him going over the ledge. He didn't kill him, but then Toxic just came in and finished him from the side.
So our European team is still working on getting that soul back over inside of their obelisk, but unfortunately Liquid has already stolen it from them. Oh, soul on the ground though. DaHanG just managed to get that back and also just has the reach to throw the soul back into his team's obelisk. So they've got under their control. And now the team from Europe has to reset. Find themselves in a better position to try and steal this, but actually no, they're just going right for it, very aggressively trying to take this soul away, but it works for now. They've got it out of the base and they're running it. There's quite a few players from Team Liquid in their way though, as DaHanG moves in, pummels one player, rails one, and then finishes off the player he hit with the charge by eliminating Toxic just a few seconds later.
That was just a great play by DaHanG. I mean, I don't know if it's maybe an adjustment they made or the map, but it seems like Liquid's really on top of, a little more on top of their game on this map.
Used the stealth by Stermy there. Looked like he was actually going to go down to that 1v1, but was able to prolong his life as a result of that. Unfortunately, it's not meaning too much with the soul being securely placed back in Team Liquid's base right now and stacking up past 70%. They need to start moving in and more successfully being able to make these soul runs happen, as they've had no problem actually getting it out of the base. They've just been having a whole lot of trouble with actually completing their run and actually getting it back over inside of their own obelisk. But now Toxic is going to make a move inside. He's being followed, however, by DaHanG. However, he reads into that, gets himself up to the higher ground, and finishes off his opponent. Now he's got more trouble, though, as a protected player is about to chase him back down. It's going to be AZK. It's so tough for him to win that 1v1, and ultimately AZK knocks him out with a nice rail shot.
Yeah, if somebody's coming at you with protection, I would just advise running.
So it's looking good for Team Liquid here as they inch up towards 99%, and they do indeed follow through and sacrifice the obelisk. They're going to take round one here at our second map as they look to claim back an advantage after losing the first map.
Highly competitive, but you can tell Liquid had a better showing on this map in the first round. Now I'm curious if the other team comes back maybe with some adjustments. But some just great railing, some great shooting by Team Liquid in that. DaHanG seems just amazing at times.
AZK finds himself in a bit of an awkward position here now, and now he's going up against the Stealth Nyx too. Might just want to bail out of this spot, but no, continues to hold. Has teammates coming in to support him as well, so can re-ascertain his position here and also try to deny some of the aggression from his opponents over there from Europe as he attempts to stop them from picking up the initial soul. However, they manage to escape with it anyway, and now they're going to run it over towards their own obelisk choice, which I believe the European team managed to just claim for themselves. Seems like that church position is definitely the one you want to prioritize, and nice positioning from Fazz too, trying to use these little tiny holes in the windows up here to try and take down his opponent. Almost had a kill from it, but I think he just barely ended up missing it and hitting him through one of the...
This is certainly, in my opinion, the better side to have if you want to defend the obelisk. You got the small light armor up there in the corner. You have some high ground to shoot down onto the obelisk for defense, and you have the heavy armor, you know, a few strafe jumps away.
So, for the time being, A still contains itself under the control of the European squad here, but for Team Liquid, they're starting to get their players together and ready to make a run inside with the elimination of Fazz. More nice rails coming out from AZK here, and support from ID allows them to eliminate Toxic. Now they're going to move in, try to steal this soul away. AZK takes up the high ground since he's been doing good work with that rail. Nice denial as well. Someone tries to move in and stop the soul from even being stolen, but they manage to get out of there. It's a lot of trouble, though, as they're going to end up in a close fought battle. They still manage to keep themselves together, though. They just have to take a little bit of a different path to run away, but actually, no. It seems like one of the other players stole the soul and took it all the way back to the base, so they have to start all over again, and now they've just lost almost every single player on their roster, and they have to wait for them to respawn.
That was actually a huge turnaround right there because the quads, the power-ups coming up right now. So they all lost their stack, they're all respawning, and on top of that, you know, they lost their opportunity to get their obelisk counting. Because, you know, the other team's going to focus on the power-up more than their obelisk got that. They could have got some percentages there for sure.
Power up coming back down onto the ground. Protection, it is going to go into the hands of the European squad now as they take it here. So AZK trying to snipe a few of them out, just barely survives it and gets himself the snipe. Nicely done as well. Just takes out yet another player. That's Stermy going down at the hands of the railgun. And now they'll be able to move in and take yet another attempt at trying to steal this soul, but AZK got hit so heavily by rockets and rails, so he's in the open. You can see it, it's just a huge battle of green as these rails continue to move out and dominate these players. Rapha gets himself a nice run though, and he's gonna hop back over and finally secure Team Liquid with a little bit of room to work up on the obelisk here.
They need a really strong defense right now to get back in this game.
Oh, nicely shot. Direct hit there against his opponent. Able to take out Fazz. Only 1 or 2 really remaining in this site. Toxic, I think, messes up his run a little bit here, so he ends up in a really bad spot. Now just in the open, fighting against multiple opponents here. He has one unawares to his spot right now, but unfortunately just getting inside, even though he's hitting so many rail shots, he has to change his targets so often that he just can't complete the kill.
Yeah, that's too many targets right there. You're absolutely right. He hit every guy once, and then they probably had a nice, decent stack as well.
Rapha is going absolutely insane right now. The nice little double kill that he picked up there. Denies opponent pickup. He did just actually lose the mega health though, so Toxic in stealing that is able to finish the kill onto him and eliminate him. Finally getting him out of that spot that was causing these guys from Europe so much trouble.
That was a big steal there. Took out Rapha, got the mega health.
Nicely done from Toxic though, moving back in, picks up the kill onto DaHanG, and now looking for the second one, but he can't finish off AZK. He's able to survive the encounter. Keeps Liquid in control as they're looking to run this comeback now, just 20% behind their opponents.
Showing some strong defense. This is what they needed, but they got to, whoever gets this power up next, they need to get this power up. This is going to be huge.
Liquid is so focused on defending their obelisk right now that they may not even have anyone close enough to be able to go and take that. We'll have to see. They're branching out now as this protection is about to spawn itself into the open here. And oh, look at that. Someone actually ran through the portal from the European side and managed to take control of the power-up, spawning right inside of it as the timer expired.
Yeah, for people who don't know, there's a portal off on the side past the mega health, and it literally takes you right on the power-up, to the point where you can actually telefrag people if you time it right.
It's right to the left of where AZK is now out in the open. You need to get a lot of speed going to be able to make that jump appropriately as AZK continues to try and chase down his opponent. Unfortunately, stealing that protection may have actually just won the game in 2-0 fashion here for their opponent team, as now they've got it back onto their point and they only have 15% left to go.
I feel a little prophetic right now talking about that power-up and how critical it was going to be, because it looks like that might turn...
Might have just won the game as it let them make the soul run.
Yeah.
As now they're continuing to push forward. I think there's 1 or 2 players that are still going to try to push in here and just delay for as long as they can. DaHanG hitting 1 kill, but goes down a second later. And now at 99%, only 1 player sits on that point. He's completely surrounded, though. Toxic getting pushed back out. Liquid somehow making this work, at the very least delaying it. They get the soul off of the point now, but it goes down a moment later. They're still trying to get it outside of this hallway. It's down on the ground long enough, though, for it to reset. As they do toss it back out, it gets it across the map halfway for free. But immediately, the European team still manages to steal it, and Noctis starts himself on the run to send it back over to his obelisk and try to claim this round. And indeed, it's looking like they're going to be able to do it, but no! Rapha leaping in at the last moment denies it. He gets taken off the point, though, with that kill. More of the members of Team Liquid still trying to deny this. However, they can't do it, so our team from Europe is going to be able to close out with that. And now we end up going 1 for 1.
That was crazy, the way Rapha flew in there like that and landed that rail. And then it actually bought his team a little bit of time to come in. For a second there, I thought they might have got that last second steal to make it you know, a little more interesting. But yeah. Great play, great play. Again, I just want to point out those power-ups. Was what that last power-up was the difference in that match.
Well, back into round 3 here now as our teams are tied. It was looking like Liquid was going to be in good shape to try and run a 2-0 victory, but the theft of that last power-up saved the guys from Europe, and now they were able to control things and keep themselves in the match here now, as there's a nice run attempting to get the soul back outside here. Liquid's trying to fight for it. Unfortunately, they don't have the firepower, and just off of that, Noctis, I believe, got a double kill with a tribal. He's being denied presence on the site, though, by DaHanG, even though he just has this measly little SMG, but now he's going to make the run back in. And the soul ends up, I believe, just getting tossed off of the map by the European player controlling it there.
Yeah, that was good denial with the tri-bolt there, because he knew his enemy was coming in. It's like a little bit like a rocket launcher, and yeah, they ran right into it.
So Liquid is going to be able to get control of this church at the end of the day. DaHanG steals it at the last moment and just tosses it back in. But much like many rounds before, the Soul's not going to stay on that point for very long. Liquid able to deny it, though, when they do pick up that Soul. Liquid is back into control for right now, but it's a very hesitant amount of it. A lot of these players are extremely low, having already used their power just to get this back. Stermy makes a move himself to get back in, but the pole gets in the way of his rail shot, so he's denied that kill. Finishes off DaHanG, but is also taken down by AZK just a second later.
And you can see both teams in each round so far. They feel this is the stronger point to control. They've both made an effort to get it there first.
Nicely done, the rail work from AZK. He does get knocked out on a side flank from Stermy there, but he picked up 3 kills in about a 20 to 30 second process before he ended up getting eliminated. Now, ID out in the open too, just get completely outmatched by Toxic and those rockets. But thankfully for them, they trade that out just a moment later, and it looks like Team Liquid ends up with the full armor kit.
Yeah, he was in a little bit of a bad spot there with the lower ground and somebody shooting a rocket at you. It's definitely not a position you want to be in. And I always make the point, if you can time an item, you want to jump on it when it's spawning. You don't want to be waiting in bad position waiting for it.
The Mega Health has been available for a good like 20 to 30 seconds now, but for whatever reason, you focus on the objective along with that power up there. No one has actually decided to go for it, so it's just essentially been sitting there. Now, we do have the full armor kit respawning. ID trying to deny as he has his quad, but he only has 7 HP to play with it. And now the problem is he just gave it to his opponent there, so it goes back into the hands of the other players, and DaHanG going to be able to move in, trying to steal this Soul. He's got it, hitting those rail shots back to back. He fights his way outside of this site, and now is going to be able to make the run over towards the A side.
How much can you say about DaHanG's rail that we've seen all day today? I mean, are you kidding me?
DaHanG may have just made a little bit of a mistake there, though, in actually tossing the Soul down. They're going to retrieve it now, but it does waste a few moments here, which they could have otherwise used to be able to try and stack up their own obelisk a bit more here, as they're still behind by about 15%. So they have some makeup work to do. Here comes the rush, though, from DaHanG to secure it. And there we go, touchdown. And the Soul goes back over here onto the A obelisk because they're not going to look to defend it. But again, they don't really have a great setup. So immediately there's about 2 to 3 players from the other side trying to push in and steal this Soul. They succeed. They've got it out, but another player is able to deny it. DaHanG's in trouble, though. Only 18 HP left to play with. They get the Soul back onto the site. DaHanG's in trouble.
Yeah, they definitely need to give him some support over there as quickly as they can. That was a great play, though, with this charge. You know, again, he showcased how you can throw it, charge, pick it up, and get that damage reduction as you're bringing it in.
Well, Toxic and some of his teammates were able to steal that Soul for a second time, and they're making a quick run. Look at how fast that Soul is moving across the map currently. It's already made its way over towards point B, and now Liquid has to switch up their gameplay a little bit here and go onto the offense to steal it away. Not sure how close they got to recovering the advantage. Yeah, they're only about 5% behind now. But the problem is Toxic and quite a few of the others have been able to branch out from the obelisk itself and are denying essentially any attempts from Liquid to try and get towards that obelisk. Toxic himself over 1,000 damage now in this current life, but being down on that point, it's looking great here for Toxic and the rest of his teammates to try and close out on this map itself and take a 2-0 lead here for the Europeans. However, Liquid have been able to steal it, and Toxic moving in there. It steals the Mega Health, so with that said, they'll have an easy time knocking out AZK. Rapha trying to frag out too, but he's been completely surrounded, and I believe his opponents have control over the power-up.
That was a great play, Mega, by Toxic. A great combo. He just lined him up with that LG and then quick switch to rail for the finish. Highlight reel stuff.
Toxic continuing to move back in, goes right past Rapha, but then spins it back around to take down his opponent. He thought he just rushed right past him. Toxic is going absolutely crazy right now.
Yeah, in terms of Quake history, this is probably one of the best aim players like around. Not saying he's not a smart player, but in terms of his just pure aiming ability, he's disgustingly good.
Well, it's looking like they've been able to hold on now at 99%. This is the last attempt from Liquid. They're going to get the steal. Now they need to make the run. This is where they've been denied so many times here due to good rail placement and positioning. And there we go. Soul's down. They picked up a good 2 kills in the process. Toxic going to run in with the rush here, try to stop this from happening. And now the Soul running itself in, but DaHanG fell off the map. Thankfully, he caught the Soul inside of the obelisk before going down, but the problem is with no one to defend it, now the guys from Europe just managed to steal it right back, and they're running the orb over to their obelisk, where if they just put it inside and hold it for another second or two without Team Liquid contesting it, they're going to take it. Nicely done from Rapha, though, coming in with the Sorlag to save the day. He restores it back onto this obelisk, and is going to get a nice close-up fight with that Tri-Bolt, but he can't win it. Ends up killing Stermy from the grave, and it keeps the Soul on the point temporarily, but there are more players on the way from this other team still.
It is pure chaos right now. These guys are going at it.
Well, this is it right here. Rapha lines himself up a nice shot there, just finds one of his opponents going directly up on top. The problem is Rapha's just in the open here now and fighting against one or two more players. Still gets it done at range with the rockets, but ultimately is taken down by Fazz up close.
Yeah, not the greatest position in the open there with the rocket launcher, but I mean, he really didn't have a choice. Somebody has to get that power up. Again, it seems like, you know, that power up is going to make the difference.
DaHanG and the others trying to figure out where exactly the soul managed to make its way towards. They look to try and recover that now, but ultimately they just need to defend and prevent that soul from getting over towards the Europeans' obelisk, because if it goes inside and there's no one there immediately to contest it, then it's going to end up very badly here for the players from Team Liquid. And they almost managed to make their way back, and they actually are going to try to make this run again here. DaHanG picking up quite a few of the kills. The soul just sitting stagnant right outside of the point. As it's going back and forth, really no one can control this soul. You can see it. So many messages to the soul going down to the ground time and time again as it just continues to get tossed back. But now, nicely shot from Stermy, eliminating AZK. Most of the resistance here, they're all here, but they're getting torn to shreds. Liquid can't maintain it, goes on to the point. We do see DaHanG trying to hold on to it, but he just can't maintain himself on side of it. So the obelisk is going to get sacrificed in an extremely chaotic and close round. Goes by the way of our European squad. Stermy, Toxic, Fazz, and Noctis are going to claim map number 2. And they will go up 2-0.
Organized on Blood Covenant, the first map. They came back with better organization, the second map on Burial Chamber that we just saw. But again, you got to get those power-ups in these team play events. I can't stress it enough that they're game changers. And like we saw in both, it could have been 2-0. It could have easily been 2-0 Team Liquid. You know, in the second round, they lost that protection, and it really just turned the map.
Yeah, and with that protection, that basically is what allowed for the European squad here to really get back into the match and start picking up some rounds for them, or start picking up quite a few of the percentage for themselves, and eventually run that entire comeback as well. That was incredibly impressive by them, as Liquid only needed like one or two more seconds on their obelisk, and they would have had that under their control completely.
Yeah, if I was going to point to any a singular key point in those 3 rounds, would be that protection spawn in round 2. That felt like that was a turning point in the match overall. And yeah, the Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, Stermy, they just ran with it from there, and it seemed like Liquid never really recovered.
So, as you can see again there on Rapha's monitor, everyone getting set up here now inside of the match and getting ready to play it out. We'll have to wait for those players to load back in, and then we'll be able to get started and see if Team Liquid is going to be able to try and claim even a single map here now. Third and final map to decide it all.
They definitely have their work cut out for them, like I said before all of this started. These guys are top notch, so you got to be on your game. You got to be communicating well. You got to be attacking together, defending together, using your abilities at the right time. Let's see how they do.
Well, into it we shall go, of course, and over to the ruins for our third and final map. Started off here, AZK going to find himself kind of trapped into a corner away from where the soul will find itself spawning in a moment here. A lot of them waiting on the upper part of this wraparound here. Spawn going onto the ground here, but it is looking like the European squad's going to be able to get first grasp at it. Now they need to take it back over to a point. However, Liquid steals it back. This always not going to be the area you want to chase things down if you're trying to get over to that obelisk, though. He did try and fight for a few of these players to get outside, and they just can't seem to lock down Noctis. So Noctis ends up winning the battle, and he doesn't just kill AZK. He takes out DaHanG as well. Now, with the soul going under the control of this European squad, they get themselves up on and they steal the obelisk. The same one that I believe Team Liquid was going to try to chase towards.
Yeah, I don't know if going down that hallway was necessarily the best idea for getting there. They might have wanted to take a less direct route.
And so now, AZK just in a little bit of a useless battle here. He needs to get outside. Need to try and figure out where exactly the soul is going to be located here. As AZK tries to secure the site a little bit better for himself and the rest of his teammates there. Finally, the soul arrives, though, and now goes over onto Obelisk B, and they can start stacking up a little bit for themselves here. AZK just trying to chase down anyone that would try to go for the rocket spawn, or, of course, the Mega Health sitting in the middle there. But immediately, someone moves in, stealing that soul away. They drop it, though. It's a missed toss. I think it ends up connecting onto one of the walls there, so they have to re-toss it, the player on Nyx being the one to make that mistake. However, it's corrected relatively quickly, and now they're trying to chase that soul back over towards Obelisk A.
got a power-up coming in about 20 seconds. I want to see if Team Liquid does a better job this time of securing it.
I think Liquid is actually going to be delaying bringing this soul. Actually, no, they're going to go right for it. This may not be entirely advisable. There's still two opponents sitting in the proximity of that obelisk, along with the power-up spawn moving back in, and Fazz, nicely done, catches that rocket jump and then just immediately destroys the opponent he's going up against there. So now the quad damage moving in. It ends up going under the control once again of Toxic here. Is going to use it. Doesn't have a whole lot of gunpowder to play with, so with that said, he gets overwhelmed, and that's going to give it to Liquid instead. So they've got this power-up working in their favor here, but they've now lost the soul on their obelisk.
Well, we'll see if Quad should be able to make a difference here if they use it right.
Oh! Liquid ID almost being able to catch that soul in mid-air. That would have been impressive in itself. Just goes over his head, though. Still, though, with all four players on this obelisk, they're able to easily steal it away and now start to make the run back over to their own obelisk.
Yeah, it was a good, effective quad run. They cleared it off and was able to get that steal.
AZK just trying to watch his backside here as he hops back in to defend Obelisk B, lining up some nice rocket shots too, full damage onto that Sorlag there, but now he's going up against both a Sorlag and a Scale, but these are two very tanky champions, and not a battle he's going to find himself having the ability to win very easily. Not only does AZK end up getting knocked out, but most of the defenders do too, and even ID on an attempt to run back over towards Obelisk A, just gets sniped out by Toxic. So they're going to make this run in a moment here, but the Sorlag from the other side, being played by Rapha currently, is doing a great job of keeping the aggression up, and even if they get this soul onto the obelisk, it may not stay there for very long, as they're already getting ready to steal it, and they've just completed that steal.
Yeah, we're seeing a little stronger team play, I think, right now from Liquid. No, that guy came out of nowhere.
Toxic, nicely done. Denies the soul run and then kills the other opponent that was trying to steal the soul back too, so it goes back over to Obelisk A. Another member from Team Liquid is going to make an attempt to steal it. And Stermy just moving around the map, doing massive damage. 2 rails in a row now, 3! Could make it a 4th, but unfortunately his opponent's already died, so we won't see that there.
It's just some great railgun work right there by Stermy. I mean, what, did he take out 3 guys before?
Yeah, he had 3 rails in a row. I think he managed to kill only like 1 or 2 of them, but still doing massive damage, and the rail easily going to force someone back into a corner, at the very least go looking for some armor pickups or something to make them a little bit better off for the next battle. AZK in this next battle, speaking of which, Noctis, though, is going to handle him incredibly easily, but at the same time, no one able to get themselves onto the site itself. And ID having himself the quad, but unfortunately no HP to play with as he's doing it on Nyx, this very, very squishy champion, which can be knocked out in just a few crucial hits. Now trying to move forward, but only gets that 1 kill, so Stermy is going to steal the quad.
And Stermy is stacked. It just seems like anytime Liquid even gets the quad at this point, it's like they're getting nicked from the sides with a rail or a rocket, and they're never really getting away with a good amount of health and armor.
Yeah, it was looking great for Team Liquid at the start of this round. It's just unfortunately, ever since we saw the Soul exchange hands about 2 minutes ago, it's been all under the control of this blue team since that point, and they've been able to hold this thing almost flawlessly, only losing it once or twice, and they were able to deny the run pretty quickly. Only just, not even outside of like the same room right here. And you can see that too. They have the high ground here, they have the rails sitting up there, and it's just dominating players. They're having to try to hide behind the obelisk itself, but they're not getting very far until just now when they finally are able to snipe it outside. Stermy denying a few of the players from Team Liquid that are trying to support the Soul Runner, and there we go. Beautifully predicted as Noctis hits the shot on Rapha, denying the run.
That was just wonderful. The first rail and then recognizing the opponent was going for the portal and strafe jumping over there. Maximum speed. That you could just see the skill in that. It's just amazing.
Stermy trying to give himself some higher up shots from the backside there as he's still a little bit lower. Same for Fazz. Rapha's going to be able to easily tear through that one. Now it's on Noctis to stop this run from completing and delaying the guys from the blue team for being able to try and close out over here on this round. It moves into the site, and of course the guys from Europe are immediately looking to try and steal this soul without much time being wasted here. ID hanging back, and there we go. Full control of that obelisk going back over to the control of the Europeans. They're now going to take it and start their run back over to their obelisk. Well, they could be able to close this one out, but again, they got denied. They're still working on getting that soul off of the obelisk itself, and that's where they're having a real problem. Beautifully done by Toxic, though, and perfectly timed as well with that charge. Moves in, not only does he get himself the quad, but he denies one of his opponents from stealing it and runs him over in the process.
Yes, that was a great move by Toxic. It's actually one of the best ways to use Scale Bearer's ability is during these quad spawns. Again, power-up management, getting that quad. It seems to be a problem for Team Liquid right now.
And now the soul Unfortunately missed it on its route back over here, so they're trying to chase it down, trying to figure out who exactly from Team Liquid was able to steal it. They've got it back under their control now, and it goes over into Obelisk A, so only one more chance for Liquid to try and steal this away. As it's going to continue to tick forward up to 99, and in a second here, it is looking like it is going to get sacrificed. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, our European squad comes out on top as they claim round number 1 in this map. Still 2 more rounds potentially to go, though, and the second one should be starting in just a second.
Some great shooting there from those guys. Was that Stermy with the, or no, Toxic with the Scale Bearer charge there. Perfectly timing, won the quad. I mean, he must have charged right over it, right when it came up, and killing an enemy in the process.
So now ID going right for the Mega Health and continuing forward too to try and pick up this kill. That Mega Health is really the only reason he's still alive in that fight versus the Scale Bearer while playing on Nyx, but he pushes that Scale Bearer into a corner. We're probably not going to be seeing much of him for a while. Well, I say that, but Fazz, nicely done, sniping out one of his opponents there before they could get anywhere. Now the Soul going into the control of Team Liquid, but oh my goodness, AZK just ends up killing himself. He can't even find a place to shoot down these tri-bolt shots. Ultimately.
It just seems like these Fazz and Noctis, their rail play, the rail gun from them is really making an impact.
And AZK, this is the other problem too, is they know how to weigh out their aggression very well between Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, and Stermy here. They've been absolutely beautiful. Like, look at that from Stermy. He's doing this all alone and defending this site while some of his teammates are just hopping around the map looking for pickups there, making sure that they control the armor and Mega Health pickups, which spawn every 30 seconds.
I almost wonder if they have a strategy maybe they're working where they have a rotation going, where you keep a couple guys for defense and you let another guys run items and you kind of rotate, right? I'd like to know what their bigger strategy is, but I'm sure they wouldn't tell me. I bet it's a secret.
Well, there's some nice shots for Rapha that roll out. Not able to gain a whole lot of kills, unfortunately, with he's connecting the rail shots. And now the Soul back securely positioned onto the A Obelisk under the control of Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, and Stermy as they look to control this map and try to take it easily with a 2-0 victory in their favor and make a 3-0 run on maps here overall in the set between these two teams. Nicely done. Toxic just flicks onto his opponent there with that rail shot. And now looks for more, brings his opponent extremely low. He missed it. The Ranger hiding in the corner a little bit, so I had to do a double take. And now Fazz is spraying in there, gets the assist at the end of the day as we use the dot finishing him off. The power-up going down to the ground. Once again, it is going to be the squad Fazz, Noctis, Toxic, and Stermy that take the initial control of it, and that's going to be a protection going into their favor. Fazz, even though it doesn't have that protection, is continuing to do damage too, and denying every attempt from Team Liquid to get onto this A Obelisk.
Yeah, these power-up pickups are really hurting Team Liquid. I can't stress it enough. It's making a huge impact right now.
They continue to exercise that aggressive control across the map. You can see it again, they're way out here. This is super far off from there in Obelisk because Fazz is now going to make the run over towards it now. Someone, if they could actually get past this defense matrix that's been set up here by the European squad, could in theory just walk right up and steal the Soul itself, but odds are he's going to be spotted and that will cause the retreat of every other teammate like you're seeing right now. But Liquid was able to actually finally get quite a few players together here, but the Scale Bearer again doing massive work here. AZK trying to save it with this Mega Shotgun. It's just so unfortunate that they lost the Soul, and now actually he tosses it, Noctis does, in an attempt to run back. He ends up throwing it right onto his opponent there. Liquid once again is going to steal that Soul and now make a run through it through the middle area instead. Fazz, though, puts a stop to that extremely quickly. He was able to read into that one like a book, and now throws the Soul back down. ID coming in with that Scale Bearer charge, though. It's just so annoying. You can't get away with it, but here it comes from the other side. Double roadkill. His opponent manages to get out of the way purely by the nature of it being a Nyx and the Nyx having a stealth, but he's denied the Soul run all on his own in a 1v3 situation. And with that, that's going to secure the round and the map for the European squad as Toxic goes out huge in this second round to close it out and take control of the map.
What a highlight to close and win the game right there. Again, another great charge by Toxic. He did it in the other round with the quad. He did it there to steal the Soul. You got to really just admire that. The way they just seem like they're coordinating their attacks really, really well. When they had the defense set up there, it seemed like Liquid was even just having a problem getting into that zone to even get an attack started to get even close to the Obelisk. It seemed like they were taking damage on the way in. Great railgun play.